maybe no sisters.
I guess so, yeah.
You don't saw no sisters?
I guess so, yeah. I
Guess
thought
so.
my sister was, I don't know, I thought she was talking about
Maybe they're just being silly.
maybe belonging.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Surah al-Mutaffifeen. And this would be the last 2 pages you have in the booklet, correct? After that, new booklets.
Oh, yes.
Yep. So I brought a bag. I have the books. So it was a reminder for myself that I need to bring those books so we can move forward after that.
And then you.
So this is books to continue for a lot more surahs. This booklet is good to have handy when you're using the short surahs in salah. This will be like a book to study, move further, inshallah. So if you can bring cash, $25. It's a pair of books, so $50 for the 2 books, inshallah.
So you missed something.
No problem, we didn't start yet. There it goes. Inshallah. وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ. We've seen a phrase like this before. What was it? وَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ or وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. So this is woe and mutaffifin. It's not a black word, but it's the title of the surah. So this is cheaters. See that? Cheaters. This is about business. Cheaters in business. You might be familiar with this already. Woe, li, to the cheaters in business. الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون وإذا كالوا هم. You have اكتالوا on the top. You have كالوا on the next line. This is, an opportunity to refresh what we did a couple weeks ago with Surah al-Inshiqaq. إذا السماء انشقت. So انشقت belongs on this line. انشقق. انشقق. With the extra noon at the beginning. We're looking at اكتالوا and كالوا. So it's a little more tricky because you have an alif in the middle. كالوا just belongs in family 1. Kaf, alif, alif, lam. Kaf, la. Or kala. Kal. So this is the top family number 1. Where is iktalu? What do you change fa'ala into? Iktalu. What's the added letter? Kalu becomes iktalu. So which one are we looking at? Between kalu and iktalu, you have an extra ta. Which one has the extra ta? Yafta'ilu. Ifta'ala is number 8. So this is iktalu. So it's the same root, but it's a different form. And the one I just highlighted is very typical for this form to be what is called lazim in grammar. In English, it's called intransitive. And the opposite is transitive, which is called muta'addi in Arabic. What is transitive versus intransitive? Transitive is when the action is not done to the person doing it. Whereas transitive is not done to the person doing it. Intransitive means it's doing it to yourself. So you have qara'a means read. Are you reading to someone? No, you're just reading. So that action is within the person doing it. So it's called intransitive. And then make somebody read. اقرأ يقرئ سنقرئك. We will make you read. That's the transitive form. It's not that I'm reading, it's I'm making somebody else read. And so, iktalu or ifta'ala is typically the action done within itself. Especially when the form, the regular form of the word is a transitive verb, like doing something to somebody else. So for example, the word meet. Okay, you can meet someone, that's transitive, or you can hold a meeting. If the shura holds a meeting, that's called intransitive. It's not meeting with somebody else, it's meeting within itself. So that's the difference. What does kalu, what does kal or kalu mean? It's when you are giving something to someone that you've measured. And some people say this is where we get kilos from. Kalu, kilo. Allahu a'lam. When you give something, you measure it, and then you give the proper amount. Handing over something that's been measured. That's kal. Iktala is when you are getting something that's been measured. So how does that become useful for the surah? The ones who, when they're getting something that's been measured, ala nas means getting from people, and it is a duty upon people to give them. It's a duty upon people to give them by way of measure. What do? Yastawfoon. They ask full measure. So translation will say, when they're buying, they ask full measure. But we went into the details of the word to show you when they are receiving something by means of measure, and it is a duty upon other people to measure for them. When that's the case, they request the full measure. وإبراهيم الذي وفى. Ibrahim fulfilled everything he was expected to do. So that's the same word here. Istawfun waffa. What about when it's the flip side of the picture? وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ. So now they're the one doing the measuring to hand over something that they measured. When they're doing that, or they're specifically weighing, so kalu is generic, it could be any measure. Wazanu means that they're measuring by means of the little things that they put on the scales to balance the scale. So when they're doing that, yukhsirun. What's a word like it we've seen before? Khusr. What's khusr? Loss. So literally, yukhsirun is a transitive verb. Yakhsiru, he lost. He lost. That's it. Yukhsiru, he causes another person to lose. So yukhsiru is transitive. Cause, loss. That's the literal meaning of yukhsirun. So this is like a tafsir of al-Mutaffifeen. Yukhsirun is basically the tafsir of Mutaffifeen. They cheat. They cause loss. So how did they used to do this? We have the famous story of the seller of milk. Umar ibn al-Khattab is doing his nightly rounds, and he hears a mother telling her daughter to mix water into the milk. And the daughter says, no. Umar ibn al-Khattab sends somebody to say, we cannot mix water with the milk. And the mother says, well, okay, where's Umar right now? He can't see us. Umar is right behind the wall listening to the conversation. And the daughter says, are we going to disobey Umar in secret? Or obey him in public and disobey him in secret? So that famous story, that's one way that people used to cheat. If you put water, nobody's going to be able to tell. It's still white. So you can sell more milk for less from the cow. Right? Another way that they used to do this is that they would create little pieces of metal that say 2 kilos, when in reality it's 3 or 2. It's 1. So then you give 1 kilo of rice, but then on the thing it says, sorry, you give 1 kilo,
Yeah.
and it says 2. So you charge for 2. So this is what they used to do. ألا يظن أولئك أنهم مبعوثون. ألا could be 2 different meanings. Here it makes it a question. Many times the sentence in the Quran starts with ألا, meaning like listen up, something very important. Or you could translate that as isn't it that? ألا something something something. But here it's not isn't it that, it's ألا يظن. لا يظن. What is ظن? We've seen it. We saw it last week. It's not too far to scroll. ألا يظن. What's the word we saw? Not last week, 2 weeks ago. إنه كان في أهله مسرورا إنه ظن أن لن يحور. He thought, meaning it was just an idea in his head, that there is no resurrection. Here, thought, it's not really think like an idea in his head. ألا يظن. Don't they think? Oh, sorry, the subject here is أولئك. أولئك is the subject of يظن. Normally, when I put an arrow like this, what do I do also? We haven't done it in a minute. What do I do to this, the word at the top of the arrow, at the beginning of the arrow? There's a bubble.
On the
On the Dhamma. Have you seen أولئك? أولئك is fixed. The word cannot change. So if it could have a Dhamma, it would have a Dhamma. It's still the subject, even though it's not showing you the U sound at the end, it's still the subject of لا يظن. Those people, don't they think? And this is not think in the sense of assume. This is think in the sense of realize. Perceive. Is it an S or is it realize? Don't they realize? So dhann is a thought that could be disconnected from reality. He thought he was not going to be resurrected. Well, that's not true. That was his assumption. It's a false assumption. Like we have husnul dhann and su'ul dhann, assumptions about other people, right? You don't know for sure, but your thoughts are entertained in your mind about something. And here it's almost the opposite. This is something's going to happen, but they don't realize. There's still a disconnection between the thought and the reality. One of them is they think something that's not true. In this case, it's something that will happen, but the thought doesn't come to them that it is going to happen. So that's dhann, when it's a disconnection between the thought and the reality. Don't these people realize that hum mad'uthun? I believe this might be the first time we're seeing it for that meaning. Let's go to Surah Al-Shams. There was a different meaning in Surah Al-Shams, but it's worth looking at. What's the word we just read that took us to Surah Al-Shams? Mad'uthun. So what's the word like it over here? Imba'atha. Yes. And we wrote on the side, rose, which is like stand up. A person stood up. The wicked person stood up, or his gang, the 9 of them, in Surah Al-Naml we know it's 9 of them. They went and they killed the she-camel. So the ashqa, the wicked, rose. So now, imba'atha versus ba'atha. Imba'atha is form number 7. Imba'athat. And just like 8, 7 and 8, very often they're used for the intransitive. Imba'atha, he rose. Stand up. Ba'atha, the regular form, is raise, meaning make something or someone stand up. Raise the bar, bring the bar up. The bar would do inba'atha. The bar would rise. But if a person is raising the bar, that's ba'atha. That's the difference between transitive and intransitive. So there's a few examples like this. I wanted to bring them up. So mab'uthun is the regular form, the raise, not rose, not rise, raise. Raise meaning make something stand. So mab'uthun is from family 1, which means raise something. And in family 1, you have family 1 at the top. We have all of these different forms. Which word on the screen matches mab'uthun? What are the root letters again? Mab'uthun? Ba'atha. So we're looking for ma maf'ulun, mab'uthun. مفعولون, مبعوثون. So we're talking about this word. And this is the one done to. So fa'il is the one doing the action. So a nasir is a helper. Maf'ul is the one done to. So mansur is the one helped. What's a good example that has both? Hamid is not very common, but Hamid does exist. Hamid is a person praising others. Mahmoud is a person being praised. Shahid is a person witnessing. Mashhood is a person or something being witnessed.
What about
Muhammad? Going to Muhammad, now we're no longer in family one. So the whole page I was showing you is family one. But Muhammad has a shadda. So it's not just Hamd, it's Hammad. Right? So we're looking at family two. And for family two, it's sideways. I don't know how to do it. This would work. I don't think it would. No. It turned on my screen, but it didn't turn there. Okay. So Muhammad matches Muallam all the way at the top corner over there. It's a person being taught. Muallam. Muhammad is a person being praised. Yes. So all of that to say, Mab'uthun is the one being ba'atha. What does it mean being ba'atha? Being raised, resurrected. Mab'uthun, don't they realize they're going to be raised? They are raised people. Mab'uthun is something raised. So they're people raised. They're bound to be raised. The scholars they discuss the difference between a sentence with a verb and a sentence with just a noun. Allah could have said, أَنَّهُمْ يَبْعَثُهُمُ اللَّهُ. Allah will raise them. Don't they realize that Allah will raise them? That's an action. Allah will raise them, resurrect them. Allah could have said, أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَٰئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ يُبْعَثُونَ. They will be raised as a verb. But that's different. This is مَبْعُوثُونَ. Mab'uthun is like, these people, they have a stamp on their forehead to be raised, to be raised, to be raised. Like there's no way around it. Versus yub'athun means it's an action, it's not that there's a doubt in it, but it's even more firm. Thabit when it's a noun. Mab'uthun. Don't they realize they are bound to be raised? It's more emphasis on the fact there's no escaping it. لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ. For, what does azim translate as? Great. What is great when it's something negative? Great for something good, you say awesome. Even the word great kind of means better than good, right? But here, it's not a great day for them. It's a terrible day. Something bad. What does great mean for something bad? It's terrible. Greatly bad means terrible, right? For a terrible day. Great. Terrible. What day? The day that, let me show you now. This is what we used to do. The day that people will yaqum, stand. The day people will stand li rabbil alamin, for rabbil alamin. Meaning, in English we would say stand before. But li rabbil alamin, like right at his hands, at his disposal. They will stand for him at his disposal, ready to do whatever he says needs to be done. And of course, on the Day of Judgment, rulership belongs to Allah. Oh, which is what we have in the next surah we're going to do next week, inshallah. So now we have this section of Surah al-Mutaffifeen, which I always like to map out for the students who are memorizing it. We have a mark at ayah 17. كلا إن كتاب الفجار, and then كلا إن كتاب الأبرار. Okay, so this whole section from top to 17 is about the fujjar, and then the next section from there to 28 is about the abrar. Yes, the righteous. And I always tell students who are about to memorize this surah that lo and behold, there's a repeated word in these fujjar. The repeated word is مكذبين, يكذبون, يكذبوا. That repeated word is the last word of the fujjar, يكذبون. And lo and behold, the section of the abrar also has a repeated word, and it's also the last word, al-muqarrabun, al-muqarrabun. So it makes it easy to remember how the surah is structured, because the section of the fujjar has one marking word, which is the last word of the section. And then the section of abrar has also one specific word, and it's the last word in the section also. That makes it easy to organize the surah in your mind. Kalla, no way. No way what? No way that there might be a chance that they're not going to be raised and stand before Allah. No way. Indeed, the book of the fujjar. So I've been saying fujjar. Who are the fujjar? What's the root letters? Fajr. The people of Fajr?
No.
No. What's another word like it?
Yeah, you can say first of fujur.
Fusuk or fujur.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go together. We go visit Surat al-Shams, where we have nafs, alhamaha, fujuraha wa taqwaha. So fujur is the opposite of taqwa in this ayah.
Correct.
Taqwa is righteousness. Taqwa, even if you're not a Muslim, means to be aware that there might be consequences. To be aware of your environment, your surroundings, conscious of what your actions, what kind of impact they have on other people. That's taqwa. So when there's a police car and they don't have the lights on or anything, the moment you see it, that's a moment of taqwa, even for non-Muslims. Awareness of the consequences of the speed or seatbelt or whatever, right? That's taqwa. Fujur is, there's no police. Who cares?
Yes.
You know, quick look in the mirror. It's okay, I can run the light. Fujur. A moment of fujur. Who cares the consequences? Nobody's going to catch me. Huh?
Heedless, right?
Heedlessness. So, al-fujjar, subhanAllah. I have a friend, he talks about, a fajr, the fujjar, is like a messed up kafir. A kafir, it's just a matter of not being appreciative of Allah, not grateful to Allah. Fajr is in the behavior, is a very messed up kafir. SubhanAllah. So, al-fujjar, the messed up people, the, what did you say, heedless? Heedless? I like to use the word impulsive also. Like careless of consequences, impulsive. And why am I using the word impulsive? Because Fajr is the burst of light in the morning. And we're going to see this concept of burst a few more times in the surahs coming soon, inshallah. Right above. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ فُجِّرَتْ. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ فُجِّرَتْ. It's the same letters. How are the oceans going to burst? Well, somehow. Boil, explode on the Day of Judgment. So the root concept of Fajr is bursting. So Fajr is the first burst of light. As if the night is a physical cover that the light finally pierces through. That's the burst of light that comes out of the night. Fajr. And then Fujjar is a bursting behavior. Impulsive, careless, like whatever. What's it? Whatever is in front of them. What do they call it in English? Instant gratification, right? بل يريد الإنسان ليفجر أمامه. He wants to continue to fulfill his instant gratification. Whatever's in front of him. Bursting, impulsive behavior, carelessness. So the book of these people is definitely going to be in Sijjin. And what could give you any idea what is Sijjin? It is a book that is marqoom. You know the story of Ashab al-Kahf? Who are they? أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم مرقوم. الرقيم. Back to what we were discussing a few minutes ago. مرقوم. is something being done raqam to. Raqim is also raqum. Means the same thing. Means that it has been carved into stone, unerasable. Permanent marker, permanent ink. It is a book that is permanently marked, permanently marked. So Allah tells us what is Sijjin, and He says it's the book of deeds of the bad people, and it's etched, carved, unerasable, permanent. But still, it's useful to know what does the root letters Sa, Ja, Na mean. You go to Surah Yusuf. Familiar with Surah Yusuf? What's the word in Surah Yusuf? I don't believe it comes anywhere else in the Quran. No, actually it does. Fir'aun says the same thing to Musa alayhi salam. Sajana, Sijjin, Sijin. Prison. Yes. Yusuf gets thrown into Sijin. Fir'aun says to Musa, لَأَسْجُنَنَّكَ, I will put you in prison. So, not that it means prison, but the words that are making the word Sijin is made of the letters that mean prison. So their book of deeds is called prison. And the form Sijjin with a shadda and kasras all over like this is like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. It's an emphasized form of the word. So their book of deeds is completely sealed, unerasable, permanent. Woe on that day to the deniers, the ones who deny the day of judgment. So in translation, we ignore the B here. They deny the day of judgment. وَمَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا كُلُّ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ. We do this bubble thing again. كُلُّ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ is the subject of يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ. What does كُلُّ mean?
Everything.
Every. مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ. Athim is new, sinful. Mu'tad is a person full of hostility. What's it called? I heard that word recently. Antagonism. Like when you're against a person. Mu'tad. Antagonism or full of hostility. Only people who are like that deny it. وَمَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا. So this added phrase, or the ma plus illa, means what? Except. Nothing but. No one denies it. Who would deny it except every single hostile sinner? وَمَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا. Have we seen this before? Ma something something illa. Problem is that, from one session to the next, I've taught a bunch of different things in different places at the school, so I don't remember which surahs we. I don't think ma illa comes in the shorter surahs. But ma something something illa. وَمَا أَنْتَ إِلَّا نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. You are nothing but a warner. So, مَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا. Nobody denies it except every hostile sinner.
Surah Al-Asr, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ إِلَّا.
Yeah, but it's not ma something illa. Right? Somebody made a very interesting comment about the B of يُكَذِّبُ بِدِينٍ. In the Quran, B is, well, I don't want to say always, but with the word deny, there's usually the word be. And this is an Arab speaker who told me that actually in Arabic, you can say يُكَذِّبُ الدِّينِ or يُكَذِّبُ يَوْمَ الدِّينِ. You don't have to have the be. It would still be a correct sentence to say يُكَذِّبُونَ يَوْمَ الدِّينِ. They deny the day of judgment. Be means that there's a whole propaganda around the denial. They have taken Yawm al-Din as the object of their propaganda to make people disbelieve in it. They're doing everything they can to make people disbelieve in the Day of Judgment. They are marketing the disbelief in the Day of Judgment. يُكَذِّبُونَ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. It's not just deny, it's, make it a propaganda and make sure that everybody denies it. Make it a point to insist that it's not going to happen so that everybody believes that it's not going to happen. These people, إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا. Every single hostile sinner, when تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا. So it went from the plural, الَّذِينَ. You can see. See this on the screen? Yeah, you can see it. Okay. So the noon of الَّذِينَ, those people, became the singular here, alayhi. every single person like this, sinful, hostile, every single one of them, who are these people? What is the person who's like this? إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا. No, not right. You get the point. When our signs are tutla, recited, yes. You have al-qamari إِذَا تَلَاهَا, the moon follows the sun. Tutla, the ayat are being followed. Whether it's following by looking or following by revelation. They're following the revelation. So reciting is following the revelation, following your memory, or following the lines on the page. Tutla alayhi ayatuna. What does he say? Asatir al-awwaleen. This is a phrase that, these two words, sorry, asatir, I don't think comes, what about that? Sutur does come in a few other places. Asatir al-awwaleen means old legends. Legends of al-awwaleen. Legends of the people of the past. The early generations. Ancient legends. Kalla. No, this is not ancient legends. Bal. Rather. Bal is over here. Bal. Bala. Rather. Kalla, bal. No. This is not ancient legends. Rather, there's a problem in the listener of the ayat. رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. So for this ayah, we need to put a bracket. مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. That whole phrase, let's translate it first. ما, what? كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Kana was. Here it's a helper verb. Like in English, helper verb. يكسبون ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب. Earnings, achievements, accomplishments, anything they've accumulated or accomplished in their life. ما كانوا يكسبون. What they used to accomplish. What they had accomplished in the dunya. Or what they've been accomplishing. What they've been earning, doing. All the things that they've been doing. ما كانوا يكسبون. That whole thing is the subject of رَانَ. على قلوبهم. What they have been doing has done rana upon their hearts. Rana means like put a layer of rust, make the hearts hard and rusted. So what they used to do has rusted their hearts, or literally upon their hearts. Kalla, no way, again. So this one has a little sad lam to say you should stop there when you're reciting. This one doesn't, so let's go ahead and put an exclamation mark. Kalla, no. إنهم عن ربهم يومئذ لمحجوبون. Mahjub, again, belongs in this form. Maf'ul. So we had mab'uth, we had marqum, now we have mahjub. Extract the letters from mahjub. What do you get? What do you get from that? Hijab. Mahjub is the done to form of a hijab. That's worth writing down, I think. Hijab. So the done to form of hijab, what does that mean? Indeed, they عن ربهم, from their Lord, on that day, veiled, covered. Literally, you could say hijabified. A hijab has been put on them, preventing them from seeing their Lord. They're being covered from seeing their Lord. So it's not that, so when a woman wears a hijab, it's to prevent others from seeing the hair. But this is not this preventing from seeing. This is as if these people, like the hijab on the head, would be for the hair not to see what's outside. They're not going to be like the people outside who can't see the hair. No. They're going to be like the hair. They cannot see anything because there's a hijab on. They'll be mahjubun, they'll be completely covered, unable to see anything that's going on. Unable to see or unable to see anything from their Lord. ثُمَّ إِنَّهُمْ لَصَالُو الْجَحِيمِ. So this is a new form of a word we've seen quite a few times. يصلى لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى سيصلى نارا ذات لهب. What's the other one? فسوف يدعو ثبورا ويصلى سعيرا. And there's a few more. وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية. So there's quite a few. يصلى is always with the hellfire, and yet again جحيم, the hellfire. It's a new form. صالو means it's a noun. So this is the first time that it's as a noun. And what did we say about a noun versus a verb? The noun conveys more thabat. It's firm and there's no way around it. Even though, when Allah uses a verb, doesn't mean there is a way around it. The fact that it's a noun puts emphasis on the fact that there's no way around it. صَالُوا الْجَحِيمِ, there's no way around it. They're going to be dumped into the hellfire. ثُمَّ يُقَالُ. Then, what do you think يُقَالُ means? Means say, but what are we used to? قالوا without the you, or يقولوا. If it has a ya at the beginning, we're used to يقولوا, not يقالوا. So let's look at it. يقال matches. Oh, this is not the same page, sorry. We have to go back up a little bit more. Here. We looked at this also a couple weeks ago, I believe. يقال is the present tense with the ya at the beginning of present tense. So we're looking at the right side. On the right side, you have this u'a in the brackets. Any word that has u'a, ينصر, يخلق, يسأل, يؤمر, and then do we have it? يقال. We have يقال there. يقال makes it passive. So what is the passive form of he says? Will be said to him. ثم يقال. Then it will be said. What is it going to be said? هذا الذي كنتم به تكذبون. Literally, this is the one you used to deny. What did they deny? The day of judgment. Allah doesn't say they deny specifically the hellfire. But what is it that is going to be told? This is the one you used to deny? The hellfire. We still have a few minutes before. It's adhan time, but we still have 25 minutes before Salah. So let's at least finish the section of Abrar, maybe the whole surah. كلا إن كتاب الأبرار. So this is the first time we're seeing Abrar. Fujjar, we had an idea because of fujuraha wa taqwa. Abrar, we haven't seen any form yet. What's the root word of Abrar? Like al-Fujjar, the root is fujur. What's the root for Abrar? Buru. This is bir. People of bir. Al-Abrar are people of bir. Meaning, good people. Righteous people. The book of the Abrar is definitely in Illiyin. And the same thing happens. What do you know about Illiyin? What could give you any idea what is Illiyin? Where is it? Up there, yes. Kitabul Marqum, same thing. A permanent book. Etched, carved book. No erasing. But this one is different. The other one was just, the other one was an etched book, a permanent book that has the name of prison. And that's it. This one has the name of Illi, high, elevated. It's It's not an elevated book, it's just the name of the book means high and elevated. And on top of that, يَشْهَدُهُ الْمُقَرَّبُونَ. And so now we're doing something new. Well, kind of new. Instead of bubbling the oo sound, we're taking the whole oon at the end. And this makes sense. Oona is just an extension of the oo ending. Un, oo, un, oona. مقرب, مقربون, مقربون. So the oona is the entire ending that represents that this is the subject. Al-Muqarrabun are the ones doing yashhadu. What are they doing? Witnessing it. What are they witnessing? The book. So Ali, this book of deeds of the good people, is an etched book that the Muqarrabun witness. Or literally, that the Muqarrabun witness it. Yes? Just to show you how this makes sense, that una is just an extension of the u sound. When I was asking you about mab'uthun, I asked you which word is like mab'uthun on this page. And you all told me, maf'ul. The un of maf'ulun could be extended into maf'ulun. Mab'uth, mab'uthun could be extended into mab'uthun. The una is an extension of the un. So it's still the subject. And who are al-muqarrabun? What are the root letters? We've seen it twice already. We've seen كلا لا تطعه واسجد وقترب. That was the same letters. And we've seen in Surah Al-Balad يتيما ذا مقربة. And all of you Urdu speakers know قريب. Yes. قرباني. Al-muqarrabun are the near ones. Allah is not specific. The tafsir, it might be on the side if we look at the Tajweed's Mus'haf, says that this is the angels. But Allah doesn't say angels. Allah says the near ones. Angels and possibly prophets and Sahaba and righteous people. So definitely angels is part of al-muqarrabun. I think there's an ayah, al-mala'ikat al-muqarrabun. The angels that are close to Allah. So they witnessed this book. So it's interesting that the parallel that Allah is drawing here. The book of Fujjar, the word means prison. It's locked up to protect people from it. Right? When somebody's in prison, it's because they're a danger to society. Allah doesn't say it this way, but the letters are a hint. And here, this is a book for everybody to witness. It's not locked up in a way to keep society safe. It is the main means that everybody should see in society. But this is in the hereafter, so this is something for everybody to see in Jannah. يَشْهَدُهُ الْمُقَرَّبُونَ إِنَّ الْأَبْرَارَ لَفِي نَعِيمٍ. So then, these 4 lines, Allah is describing a little bit of Jannah for the Abrar. Indeed, the Abrar, the righteous, good people, they're going to be in Na'im, blessings. عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ. Ara'ik, we don't have a word in English that fully matches. Some kind of lofty couches. Thrones, beds. If you say a throne, it's for a king. If you say a bed, everybody has a bed. If you say a couch, everybody has a couch. No word really matches ara'ik. Ara'ik is like a very special place to rest and recline. ينظرون أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت or فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق. What's ينظر? نظر, not nether. Nether is warn. أنذرتكم فلينظرون ظا أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت. Not just see. See is ra'a. Yanzurun is intentional seeing, which is called looking. So they'll be looking. Let's write it down again. عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنْظُرُونَ. They'll be on these couches looking. We don't know what they're looking at. What do people look at in our day and age? They look at screens. They look at the TV. They look at their videos on YouTube. And then a couple decades ago, they would look at, they would go to the movie theaters. They're reclining on these couches. They have the popcorn and the drink, and they're just looking at the movie, right? I don't know if people still go to the movie theaters too much, but that's the idea. Everybody has it at home now. So they are reclining on these lofty couches, very comfortably set, and they're looking. We don't know what they're looking at, but they're looking. We do know something. تعرف في وجوههم نظرة النعيم. تعرف is a new word, but it's quite common. It means notice. And generically speaking, it could just mean knowledge. Like, no. أعرفه, I know him. I'm acquainted with him. So you will know, meaning you would notice, في وجوههم نظرة النعيم. في وجوههم. What's في وجوههم? In?
Their face.
Their faces. وجه ربي. وجوه يومئذ ناعم. وجوه يومئذ خاشعة. Faces. You would see, you would notice, or you will notice in their faces, نظرة means blooming joy. That's how they translate it more accurately. Most of the translations will just say happiness and bliss. Na'im, blessing, bliss. Like a flower that blooms. It looks nice and beautiful. So, when somebody has been stressed for a long time, their face looks constricted. Their face looks stuck. And then when the stress is relieved, their face opens up. So that's the idea of nadrat al-na'im. Their face is opened up, blooming with joy. This word is going to come again. It's like black. Yusqawna. We've seen this before. Yusqawna. We have وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى يسقون سقيا. سقيا. I gave the example of سقيا زمزم.
Hold down.
Extracting water.
Water, but more specifically, تسقى من عين آنية. The people are going to be تصلى نارا حامية, and then تسقى من عين. They're going to go to the hellfire, and then they're going to be something. They're going to be given to drink. يسقون, given drink. They're going to be given to drink from a sealed nectar. The Prophet ﷺ is Khatamin Nabiyyin, the seal of the prophets. I don't think this word comes other than that. Like it comes here, and it comes Khatamin Nabiyyin. I don't think the word comes in the Quran anywhere else then. So what does Allah mean by this sealed nectar? Allahu A'lam. Then Allah adds the khitam, the seal of the nectar, is from musk. Allahu A'lam. وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون. We have a second one where the whole una is the subject of فليتنافس, which means compete. the word for competition in modern day Arabic is musabaqa, like a race. But tanafas is nafs, nafs against nafs, compete with each other. Yatanafas. So in that, let the competitors compete. It's like the ribbon is cut, let the competition begin. Now that you've heard what you can get, let the competition begin. وَمِزَاجُهُ مِن تَسْنِيمٍ. Let's write this down even though it's not, compete is in parentheses because it's great. And mizaj is cocktail. Is there a CK? Cocktail?
Yeah, C-O-C-K.
C-O-C-K. You know that word very well. It's a cocktail of tasneem. So cocktail, you know, in our day and age, unfortunately, means alcohol. But what does cocktail actually mean?
Mix.
It's just a mix of different colors and different flavors. So it's going to be a cocktail from tasneem. And tasneem, we don't know what tasneem is, it's just a name. Aynan, a water spring. يشرب بها المقربون. Another una ending. يشرب, second time we're seeing it. You probably know the word. What's the other place we've seen it? في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية. No, that's not. There's no يشرب there. So this might be the first time. يشرب, this is the actual word for drink. So this is a water spring. Tasneem is a water spring that the muqarrabun drink at or from. Who are the muqarrabun? The angels, the righteous, the best people, closest to Allah. I don't think we should rush the end of this surah. We should stop here. There's a very interesting take on this last ayah that I heard recently. So we'll finish it next week. Are we changing clocks this weekend or
No, November 4th.
November 4th?
Yeah.
So we are changing this weekend.
This weekend, I think.
So next week we'll meet after
Saturday
Isha.
is first.
What time is Isha here? When it's winter time?
Exactly an hour.
7:15.
Yeah.
That's pretty early, actually.
Exactly an hour.
So we'll meet after Isha next week.
For 1 hour?
For we'll finish as much as we finish. Yeah, I think less than an hour. This is This was 52 minutes. Inshallah.